Hello and welcome students to the 12th lecture of this course chemistry. The course code for this particular course is CH101 and we people are doing the topic which is named use of free energy in chemical equilibrium. Okay, the topic belongs to the second module, right? Now, as you people already know that we have come across multiple lectures, of which lecture number 9, 10 and 11, the past 3 lectures actually belong to this particular model and belong to this particular topic only, right? Use of free energy in chemical equilibrium. So let us have a quick recap of the things that we people have seen in these 3 lectures, and then we'll move on with the details of this particular lecture. Okay, so in lecture number 9, that is a part 1 of the use of free energy in chemical equilibrium, we people have seen the basics of thermodynamics, thermodynamic processes, functions, system surrounding, type of system, etc., etc. The basics we people have seen. In the second lecture, we people have come across enthalpy, okay, and exothermic, endothermic reactions and heat capacity, right? So all these things we have done in the second lecture. The first law was explained in the first lecture only, right? And in the third lecture, we people have seen what is the basic derivation of work done in isothermal reversible expansion of a gas. Along with that, we have seen some numericals, and also we have seen clearly what is reversible and what is a reversible process, right? Now here in this lecture, let us see what we are going to find out. So basically, as you know that this is the part 4 of this topic, which is called use of free energy in chemical equilibrium. Okay, and in this part 4, what we are having the lecture highlights as follows. Very important topics are coming. First one is entropy, second one is second law of thermodynamics, third one is Clausius inequality, then change in entropy for reversible reaction, change in entropy for irreversible reaction, and change in entropy for 1 mole of a gas. Okay, so these are the topics that we people will be seeing in this particular lecture. Okay, so here comes the first topic that we people are having, and it is nothing but entropy. Now enthalpy people have studied, and there also we discussed about entropy. So what is the basic meaning of the word entropy? Entropy means randomness of a system. It is the measure of randomness that is associated with a particular system. Okay, now as you can see, the definition says that entropy, the measure of a system's thermal energy per unit temperature that is unavailable for doing useful work. Because work is obtained from ordered molecular motion, the amount of entropy is also a measure of molecular disorder or randomness of a system. So multiple points are given here. Number 1, entropy is molecular disorder or randomness of a system. Fine. Number 2, it is a measure of thermal energy of a system per unit temperature that is unavailable for doing work, right? We have to remember this, that this particular entropy corresponds to thermal energy per unit temperature which is unavailable for doing work. This thermal energy per unit temperature is denoted by this particular thing, this one, right? This is the formula for change in entropy, dq reversible by T. From this particular thing, we can explain whatever I have been telling you people, right? Now, a campfire is an example of entropy. Solid wood burns and becomes ash. Smoke and gases, all of which spread energy towards more easily than the solid fuel, right? Now, this is a very important topic. That suppose we are having 2-3 pieces of wood, so the degree of freedom of, or the degree of randomness of this woods is not that much large, but whenever we burn the wood, then what will happen? The wood will get converted to ash, and now they can fly anywhere. Okay, so entropy increases, randomness increases, right? The second law of thermodynamics leads to the definition of a new thermodynamic property called entropy. Just like the first law of thermodynamics was called law of internal energy, the second law of thermodynamics is called law of entropy. It has been derived from the Greek word entrop, meaning change. The change in this property is used to determine the direction in which the process will proceed. Okay, fine. it is a measure of unavailability of the heat converted to work. Now this is very important. They're saying the change in the property is used to determine direction in which process will proceed. Here we remember about Gibbs free energy and spontaneity, right? They will also determine the process, and they're coming gradually. They're coming. Gibbs free energy and this Helmholtz free energy, they are coming very soon. Okay, get ready for that. And entropy is a measure of unavailability of heat converted to work, and we can see it is defined as the integral of all forms involving heat exchanged divided by the absolute temperature during infinitesimally small change of the process being carried reversibly. So number one, entropy associated with the process will always be reversible in nature. Number two, it will be divided by absolute temperature. Okay, heat change will be divided by absolute temperature. So that's how it is. Let us go for the next page. Here we are seeing the characteristics of entropy. Okay, first characteristic is saying it is a state function. Second one is saying it is extensive property. Third one is saying it is a reversible process. Yes, we know this. Fourth one is saying for irreversible process, dq irreversible by t is not equal to ts. So these are the four characteristics that are very important for us. We need to remember. Next comes physical significance of entropy. So physically, entropy is a measure of disorderliness of a system. Yes, we have discovered when a gas is heated, the Q reversible is positive, so the intermolecular attraction between the gas molecule decreases and they will be more chaotically distributed in order, or disorder of the system will increase, thereby change in entropy will increase. So whenever gas is heated, the molecules will run in different directions, which will finally lead to increase in entropy. That is what they are saying. As long as the spontaneous process, one second. Yeah, as long as the spontaneous process of a system continues its randomness, entropy goes on increasing. When the process reaches equilibrium, entropy becomes maximum, and after that there is no further entropy change. Okay, at equilibrium delta S will be equal to 0, right? That's how it is. What you're having next? Yeah, wonderful thing. Second law of thermodynamics. You can see a beautiful picture is present right here, which explains the second law of thermodynamics. And as you know that the second law of thermodynamics has basically two statements. One is the Kelvin-Planck statement, another is the Clausius statement. Okay, so what Kelvin-Planck statement is saying? It is saying that it is impossible to devise a cyclically operating heat engine, the effect of which is to absorb energy in the form of heat from a single thermal reservoir daily for an equivalent amount of work. Okay, so I'll say a little bit different word. I'll say rather that it is impossible to determine. It is impossible to prepare a device that operates in a cycle, or it is impossible to make an engine that operates in a cycle and produces no effect other than the transfer of heat. Other than the absorption of heat from the heat source or reservoir and performance of equivalent amount of work, right? So whatever they are saying, I'm saying linguistically it is a little bit different, but the fact is same. Okay, now as you can see in the diagram, the top one is Kelvin-Planck statement. It is clearly saying that the heat engine, for the heat engine W is equal to Q, similar amount of heat is given to the bottom side, that is heat equals to Q, and work is given from the back side, so the ship will move forward. Okay, right, this was the Kelvin-Planck statement. Next comes the Clausius statement. It is saying it is impossible to design a device which works in a cycle and produces no effect other than the heat transfer from colder body to hotter body. That is, heat transfer can only occur simultaneously in the direction of temperature decrease. Now what this particular thing is implying? What device it is talking about? It is talking about refrigerator. You people might be thinking that how it is possible from colder body to hotter body. How it is possible from hotter body to colder body is okay, but from colder body to hotter body, how it is possible? It is quite possible. Okay, it is not impossible. The thing is that if you see the refrigerator, suppose you are having a glass of water having temperature around 80 degrees Celsius, and you have a refrigerator whose inner temperature is 30 degrees Celsius. Okay, so what you are doing, you are keeping your glass of water inside the refrigerator. So gradually what will happen, from 80 its temperature will become 70, 60, 50, 40, 30, right? So basically what is happening, the surrounding is taking heat from the glass of water and it is throwing the heat to the sink or the back side of the refrigerator, right? So front side is very cold, back side is very hot, right? So this particular device is none other than the refrigerator. Next comes Clausius inequality. Now this is also very important for us, but before going to this particular page, let us explain the diagram for the second law Clausius statement, right? See, this one is TL and this one is TH, right? TL and TH are nothing but hotter and colder. Okay, so TL is greater than TH and this is heat pump, work done is 0. Okay, this particular scenario is impossible according to Clausius statement of thermodynamics, second law, right? Let us go to another work of Clausius, that is Clausius inequality. And Clausius inequality, what we people are having, it is saying let us consider the different form of first law of thermodynamics. Okay, here it is written d equals to dq minus pdv, right? Equation 1 is valid for both reversible as well as irreversible processes. What they are doing, for reversible process, dv equals to dq minus pdv equals to tds minus pdv. dq reversible equals to, we people have seen that ds equals to dq reversible by t. We have seen this, na? ds is equal to dq reversible by t. So gradually we can write this particular thing, instead of dq reversible we can write ds into t, right? So that is what they have written, tds. Okay, now if we combine 1 and 2, we are getting dq minus p external dv is equal to dq reversible minus pdv. Now if dq is taken common, dq reversible minus dq is equal to this one. So if this particular parameter, if it is greater than 0, system will expand. If it is less than 0, system will contract. Okay, in both cases p minus p external dv is greater than 0, therefore this total thing becomes greater than equal to 0. Okay, now under this condition ds becomes greater than dq reversible by t. That is what is given here. And this particular thing is called Clausius inequality. Okay, so this is also quite important for us, so we need to do it, we need to understand it, right? Clausius inequality. Okay, so now what we are having change in entropy in reversible process, change in entropy in irreversible process, and change in entropy for 1 mole of an ideal gas. Okay, so let us start from the first one, change in entropy for a reversible process. Now you people tell me, what is a reversible process? From our prerequisite knowledge, tell me what is a reversible process. A reversible process is the one in which at any moment the system can be reversed or restored back to its initial state. Why? Because this system is doing the work using infinitesimally small change. So if little bit change in the parameters of the system occurs or can be occurred, then what will happen? The system will change itself in such a way that the process will be reversible. Okay, now, as you know that for each of these cases we need to see what happens in system, what happens in surrounding. So ds system is equal to dq reversible by t, ds surrounding is also dq reversible by t, but you see ds universe is equal to 0. Why? because system is plus dq reversible by t and surrounding is minus dq reversible by t. So on adding the system plus surrounding, we are getting universe. This universe is nothing but 0. Okay, there is a story in Bengali, shunno shudu shunno noy. It's just like that, 0. Everything is there, but the result is 0. Okay. Next comes change in entropy in irreversible process. Here you can see the same scenario, that is ds system is equal to plus dq reversible by t, ds surrounding is equal to minus dq reversible by t. Okay, but here instead of reversible it is dq. Now ds universe is greater than 0 since q reversible is greater than q. This is a punch that we people are having. In the first case, in case of reversible process, what we are having, ds universe is equal to 0, and in the second case, in case of irreversible process, we are having dq reversible is greater than q. Okay, so you need to remember the difference between these two processes, right? Now next comes the change in entropy for 1 mole of an ideal gas. See here we can write delta is equals to Cv ln T2 by T1 R ln V2 by V1. Now what is this and what it implies? It implies that delta is equals to Cv del T plus R delta V. Delta is, let me write, what is the pen? Yeah, delta is equal to Cv dt plus R dV. Okay, now if you derivate this particular equation under certain limits v1, v2, t1 and t2 and so on, then you will be getting this particular expression that we are having here. Okay, this expression is very important for us because it will help us in solving several numericals, right? So this was all about the things that we people are having in this particular lecture, and this lecture is very important for us because here we not only have started second law of thermodynamics, but we have seen a very important parameter of second law of thermodynamics, that is entropy, right? Now entropy means randomness of a system, and it increases with increase of temperature and all, right? How it can be controlled? By converting the system to reversible, entropy can be controlled, but it is very difficult. So entropy of the universe is increasing continuously, and this particular entropy is used to formulate the second law of thermodynamics, which basically has two statements, right? One is the Kelvin-Planck statement, another is the Clausius statement. The Kelvin-Planck statement says that it is impossible to construct an engine that operates in a cycle and produces no effect other than the absorption of heat from heat source or reservoir and performance of equivalent amount of work, right? That is what Kelvin-Planck statement says. And Clausius statement says it is impossible to determine a device that operates in a cycle and produces no effect other than the transfer of heat from colder body to hotter body. Here comes the punch, that how heat can be transferred from colder body to hotter body. Can be, the reverse is quite simple, but how colder body to hotter body, this type of thing can be done. That's why it is written, it is impossible to determine. Okay. Moreover, this type of thing happens inside refrigerator. I have already discussed with you people, right, that how it happens and what is the phenomena. Okay. After that, we have seen what is Clausius inequality, and finally, in this particular slide, we are seeing change in entropy in reversible process, irreversible process, and 1 mole of an ideal gas. But tell me one thing, if just for common knowledge, we are discussing that if entropy of, suppose we are having two systems, okay, one system, both of the systems are having 1000 atoms, right? Now in one system entropy is increasing, in the other system entropy is decreasing. So which one of the system will be favorable? Entropy increase or entropy decrease? Which one will be favorable? It's quite easy question. Entropy increased process is always favorable. You may think that why it is like that. If entropy is not increasing, then we are not stabilized, right? Sorry, if entropy is increasing, then we are stabilized. Then why that is not stable? The fact is not like that. The fact is how you utilize your knowledge. Okay, how you utilize your knowledge, that is the most important thing. Now here we are having change in entropy in reversible and irreversible process. Also we have change in entropy for 1 mole of an ideal gas. Okay, right? Now this particular thing can be used to do certain numericals. The lower formula, right? One parameters will be given, the other parameters you need to answer. Okay, right? So this was all about the today's lecture, and this was, I guess, the fourth lecture of the part 4 of use of free energy in chemical equilibria. So with this lecture, what we have completed the first law and second law totally, and we have completed different type of enthalpy and entropy related questions and all, and we have also completed other things like heat capacity or internal energy. Okay, so this was all about today's lecture. Let us meet in the next lecture. Till then, stay safe and study thermodynamics, right? That will help you out. Okay, so thank you so much. Goodbye.